buenísimo, se me haya congelado, tío. ¿Quién se ve? Say.
Flashbang. Using the bomb. Bomb has been defused.
Mira. No, ¿qué mandas? Futuro Erotic Books. Muy bueno. Muy bueno.
Lo que pediste
So
grande,
recently,
boludo.
I'd been getting a lot of comments telling me I look
Sí,
like
no
an
te dije
H
nada.
protagonist,
Onda,
and being the
ya
man
le
of culture
gustaría
that I
este
am, I
pibe
had no idea what
ser
H
lo que
protagonist
dice
meant.
que es.
So after searching up H protagonist and looking at some images, I can confidently say, that's 100% cap.
Sí, ¿no?
A lot of comments telling me I look like an H protagonist, and being the man of culture that I am, I had no idea what H protagonist meant. So after searching up H protagonist and looking at some images, I can confidently
Dice que
say,
me parezco a mi Merne. No
that's
sé qué onda.
100% cap.
Amigo, tiene olor a alcohol el pan, boludo. La puta me parió.
Y puede ser.
Pan del orto. Pero una banda. No puede tener tanto olor a alcohol.
What's up, guys? Okay, so I've been skateboarding for almost 20 years, and in that time I've taught people to skate from 5 years old to 50 years old. And one of the main things that I see deter people from skating is they don't see results like right off the bat. You know, they'll try to learn an ollie or a kickflip and just get frustrated. You know, sometimes those tricks could take 6 months or a year to learn. So what I find works best is getting people to start skating on a mini ramp. You could just see results a lot quicker, and you know, gets you a lot more comfortable on the board, just learning how to go back and forth and pump, things like that. So what I did is make a list of the 10 easiest mini ramp tricks and what order I think you should learn them in. Okay, so trick number 1 on the list is going to be pumping. I know a lot of people don't consider pumping to be a trick, but I don't know, to me it's the first thing you need to learn when you get on a mini ramp, and you're not going to be able to make it up to the coping if you don't learn how to pump. So I've seen it be pretty difficult for people to get the feeling of learning how to pump and go back and forth. I like to think about it like riding a swing, to where, you know, it feels so unnatural trying to get some momentum, but if you keep practicing it and learn how to like swing your legs, you end up being able to
Yo lo que
generate
veía, me
speed.
hace
So
mucha gracia.
I like
Ribeye, baby. No, I didn't drop it in dirt. Grow up. Smoke it at 225 until it hits 120 internal. Take it off. Let it rest for a sec. Then we're going to go ahead and sear it on a hot bed of charcoal. No, it's not burnt. Black rub. Remember from the beginning. Grow up. All right, cut a little bit away at 225 until it hits 120 internal. Take it off. Let it rest for a sec. Then we're going to go ahead and sear it on a hot bed of charcoal. No, it's not burnt. Black rub. Remember from the beginning. Grow up. All right, cut a little bit away
¿Por qué? Malísimo. Andaste.
to think of it the same way. When you come
Grow
up
up.
to your peak on the ramp, right, you're gonna bend your legs, like suck your legs all the way up, and then when you're coming down, you stand up straight and almost push off the ramp. When you do coming down, you stand up straight and almost push off the ramp. And then when you're right, you're gonna bend your legs, like suck your legs all the way up, and then when you're coming down, you stand up straight and almost push off the ramp. When you do that, that's where you're gonna get your speed from. So sometimes, you know, people will be like standing up at the wrong spot on the ramp. So that's just something you're gonna have to practice and feel out. You're definitely gonna wanna start off at a low point and then work your way up. Like try pumping your way up higher and higher. And make sure you take the time to get this down because it really helps with just feeling comfortable on your board. So next up is trick number 2, the kick turn. So I decided to combine the front side and back side kick turn. Technically it's 2 separate tricks, but the techniques are very similar and I feel like we'll get more out of this video if I just combine them. Okay, so I recommend going for the backside kick turn first. For some people, front side could be easier. I would say it's like 1 out of 10 people just have like where front side's easier for them, but from what I've seen, most people learn the backside one first. So first thing you're gonna wanna do is just ride up the ramp just like you were for the pump, but when you get to your peak, you're gonna swing your shoulder. It could feel a little weirder to get used to, but If it does, you can start lower on the transition and even come at a bigger angle. Because if you do that, it'll take out. So what you're gonna do is ride up just like you were pumping, but just hang this truck up onto the deck. So once you get it up there, the next thing you're gonna do is press on the tail to come back in. And this is the hard part of the trick, because once you come in, you're gonna have so much momentum that you're not used to, right? Coming back in, you're probably gonna be leaning in towards the ramp and slip out. So what you wanna do is just make sure you're thinking about coming down the ramp, leaning this way.
Te pide, amigo.
Keep that front leg stiff and ready to come back in. And then once you get those down, after you feel comfortable doing it, you can go up a little higher and get like the middle of the board on. That generally looks better. And then get all the way
16 años,
a
está
little
pelado.
higher and get like the middle of the board on. That generally looks better. And then get all the way up. But in the beginning, it's
You trying to say I'm chubby? Then let's eat something healthy. Salad with avocado ranch. Let's have chicken, 2 hot sauce packets, 1 buffalo, just a little bit of Chick-fil-A sauce. Just a little bit. And
¿Qué? Quita
myself.
todo el molesto.
You have a salad. This is still healthy, right? I'ma give you some.
Pero tiene un hijo, boludo. ¿Cómo te dices?
¿Por qué pelado, amigo? No
definitely a
entiendo.
Che, ¿vos lavaste esto con el alcohol? No.
¿Tiene alcohol?
Mira, olé la bolsa.
¿Qué tendrá olor? No, pero no compré la bandera.
Pero no, adentro. O sea, afuera que me importa.
No le siento el pan, ¿o sí?
Sí, no sé.
No, es más, ni me... No sé, tengo un poco de tacto. Pero capaz que será el limpiador líquido.
No sé.
No le tiro alcohol y tampoco me puse antes. Ya no estoy tan excesivo.
Menos mal.
Ahí te lo dejé ahí, me pegué la silla.
Sí, ya me di cuenta. Bueno, ¿qué hora voy a tu casa? Supuestamente a las 10 se larga a llover, amigo. Podríamos caerle antes también. No, digo. Pibe,
a lot easier just to hang your truck.
Bien,
Okay, so for
a las 10 se larga a llover.
Bueno, vamos un poco antes, ya te voy a dejar
this trick, you're
llorar.
gonna come up the ramp
Pero... ¡Ay, que cayeron antes! Yo no estaba, saltaron la reja.
backwards, which is fakey.
Ya avisé,
And
ya lo
once you get to the
avisé,
top,
ya lo
you're just gonna
avisé,
hang that truck
boba,
above the
ya
coping,
vine,
just
ya volví,
like the
ya
rock
vine,
fakie,
volví, me fui,
and
volví,
you're gonna
volví,
press on the
volví, me
nose
fui,
this
volví.
time. But honestly, like on copings like this or some other coping, even like a big coping, you won't even have to press all the way on the nose to come in. Like just leaning forward will take it off the ramp. You just have to be careful it doesn't hang up. It's funny with this trick, a lot of people could learn this one first. It's all personal preference. So if this one feels more natural to you, learn this and then the rock fakie. All right, guys, next up is trick number 5, the slash grind. All right, so I can still remember how psyched I was when I first learned this. This will be your first grind trick on a mini ramp. So it's basically just a backside kick turn where you're just gonna keep working your way up, going higher and higher until you can eventually just clip your wheel on the coping. Now, one thing you wanna make sure you don't do is like overshoot. Just go too fast, because if you get all the way on top and like miss your wheel, you could hang up, kind of slip out. So just make sure you're going slow in the beginning and just working your way up, and eventually it'll feel just like a kick turn, but you'll get your wheel on there You hear a little grind, and then after that you can work on, you know, taking it a little longer, going at a bigger angle. But in the beginning, definitely just go a little slower. So all the same techniques apply for the frontside slash grind, but it definitely is a little more awkward for most people to do a frontside slash. Sometimes I mess around with my foot positioning, like I'll press on my toe in the center of the tail to turn. Again, it's just whatever feels good. Tail and stand up straight on top of the fakie. And now as you're coming up, press on the tail and stand up straight on top of the coping and then come back in. So this is going to be a precursor to the drop-in. A drop-in to me is much harder because you're standing on top of the ramp to start, and then it feels like you're just falling into the ramp. But with a tail stall, you're kind of still leaning into the ramp because you're coming from in the ramp, and you don't necessarily have to be all the way up on top when you press on it. You know, in the beginning it'll feel weird. Maybe you'll just press on the tail a little bit, or maybe you'll tap it really quick, and then eventually you'll be able to work your way all the way up and then drop back in. Just make sure when you're dropping in though that you lean all the way forward, because sometimes shifting your weight to one side makes you lean back and then you slip out. Okay, so trick number 7 on our list is backside rock and roll. Okay, so after you've learned the rock fakie and the backside kick turn, next step for this trick is going to be putting them together, and that makes the backside rock and roll. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is ride up the ramp just like a rock. And once you get that truck all the way up there and you press all your weight on your front foot, then you're going to start to turn your shoulders into the ramp. And once you put your foot down on the coping, then you're going to start to turn your shoulders into the ramp. And once you put your foot down on the coping, it acts as like an anchor, and it makes it easier for you to turn your shoulders. It kind of gives you a pivot point. And then once your shoulders are turned, you're just going to press on the tail a little bit harder than you would for a kick turn, because you don't want your wheels to hit the coping. You know, you want to make sure they get all the way up and over. Then you're going to lean forward just like you would for the kick turn. Okay, so once you have the rock and roll down, you can attempt trick number 8, which is the drop-in. Okay, so this is by far the scariest trick to learn as a beginner. Just something about standing all the way up on the coping and like just shifting your weight from standing up to being in the ramp feels crazy. Like it doesn't make sense how your body's gonna shift completely sideways. And that's why most of the time when people try this trick, they end up leaning back, because they end up still standing straight as they're going into the ramp, you know? And you really have to focus on pressing all your weight on the left leg and none on the back at all. Or it could be your right leg if you're goofy, but on the nose, like leaning forward. So something I'll do that really helps people to drop in is I'll put my knee underneath the truck and have them press all the way on the front and have no weight on the back, just to get used to it. And sometimes, you know, you won't have someone there to help you do that, but if you do, it can be a huge help. But the number one thing that makes people fall when they're dropping in is if it's in your head, like if you're not confident about dropping in, you're most likely gonna fall. You know, it takes 100% commitment. You gotta be able to just press that front all the way down and lean forward. When I see people hesitating and they have one foot on and they're not sure if they're gonna keep it up there, that's when I know they're probably gonna slip out. So just keep that in mind. All right, guys, that brings us to trick number 9 on our list, the fly out. Okay, so for this trick, you're gonna come up the ramp with a little bit more speed than you would for a trick like a rock fakie, because you're gonna wanna be able to come all the way out, fly out of the ramp onto the deck. All right, so you're gonna have to press on the tail and learn how to lean back and then forward to level yourself out onto the deck. Now, I think this is important because all the tricks that you end up learning down the road, like backside 50-50s and 5-0s, you're gonna need to shift your weight onto the top. So this is a good starting point. And if this feels too hard for you at first, you can practice doing it out of a bank ramp that's a little more mellow, because sometimes it can be hard to get out over the coping. All right, guys, and the last trick on our list is trick number 10, the axle stall. Okay, so backside axle stall. A lot of people have problems with this just because you have to shift your weight in a weird way, and a lot of times people will give up, but there's a couple of techniques you can use that can really help with this. One is, so you're thinking about it as a backside kick turn, and then once you get to the top, you have to press on your heel, right? And that'll kind of balance your weight and like pinch the wheel so you're able to stand up. And so once you stand up straight and get your shoulders from like leaning into the ramp to being on top of the ramp, it'll just feel natural. And you'll be able to put the wheel down on the coping and then just turn in like a kick turn. Once you get this down, it'll open the door for all the other tricks like backside 50-50 grinds and 5-0s and then Smiths and all that stuff. So, but as long as you focus on those two techniques and put in a lot of work, you'll be able to get this trick. All right, guys, hope this video is helpful for you. If you're new to this channel, I have a mini ramp trick tip playlist of like 20 videos. I'm also going to be posting more videos like this one in the future, so I'll see you guys soon.
Easy trick too. This trick requires you to have a little bit of board feel and make sure you're able to slam your board into the mini ramp. But other than that, it's all about a little tricky because you need to find the right speed first. If you go to weight back into the quarter, but while doing that, turn your shoulders front side 180 degrees. Now let your lower body follow and it should feel kinda like a little power slide. It's definitely easier to learn this trick on a wooden mini ramp because they're more slippery, and it also helps if you know how to do a little power slide or revert on regular flat ground. Last trick, the frontside ollie or frontside 180. In order to learn this,
Skate Basics 2, the revert. Let's break this trick down into two parts. First, rotate your shoulders in the direction you want to revert. Second, complete the rotation with your hips and board while counter-rotating your arms. This means your arms will undo their rotation to help your hips and board complete the rotation. You can practice this while standing on a slippery surface like the bottom of your board, or socks on a hardwood floor could work. Turn your shoulders, then turn your hips while counter-rotating your arms. You should pivot around your front foot. Next, replicate this on your board. This trick is much easier while rolling using hard wheels. Have your front foot in the pocket where the nose starts to rise, with your back foot in a wide stance for balance. Shift a little more weight onto your front foot so your back wheels can slide, then do the rotation we practiced. If you crouch down and uncrouch as you revert, this takes weight off your board to make the slide easier. I hope this helps. Subscribe for more Skate Basics tutorials and have fun skating. Skate Basics 2, the revert. Let's break this trick down into two parts.
So for this trick, you're going to want some wheels that slide, Bones or Spitfires, something over 100A. Some people might like a softer wheel if they're on a wooden ramp, but with a concrete ramp that's pretty grippy like this, you're gonna wanna have a hard wheel. So I've got a video about how to fakie pivot to fakie, and I talk about tail stall reverts a little bit in that video. I'm on a wooden ramp in that video, so it's a lot different. It slides a lot easier. This ramp is pretty grippy, so you're gonna have to push a little bit harder. So first off, you wanna be really good at tail stalls. It's not necessary that you know how to do that tail stall, shove tail stall. It's not necessary that you know how to do that tail stall, shove tail stall, but I wanted to throw that in there. Alright, so before I have a heat stroke, let's talk about this. So you get into a tail stall, and then to do a revert, you're just going to turn your shoulders first, and then as you're dropping in, you're going to slide your wheels around. Everything's kind of follow your shoulders. So I'm winding my shoulders up, and There's no weight on your front wheels, all your weight's on your back wheels. That's the only thing that's really sliding, but you don't have to really think about that, because if you think about that too much, it might mess you up. My front wheels aren't hitting the ground until I've done a complete 180. So with the tail stall reverts, first you want to learn how to do a tail stall and how to kick turn. It's also going to help if you learn to do a revert in the ramp. So roll up, and before you get to the coping, slide your body around. To do that, you're going to roll up the ramp. Before you get to the coping, you're going to pull the board with your back foot, slide around, and go back down fakie.
High 80 degrees while leaving at least one set of wheels on the ground. Reverts can be used to get into and out of your switch stance without stepping off your board, or you can use it to link together multiple tricks. You can do reverts on almost any terrain, but they get easier if you do them on smooth or painted concrete. If you already know how to do power slides, you'll be able to pick up this variation pretty fast. First, we'll go over the front side revert. To do a front side revert, you want to set up your feet so that your back foot is on the tail of your board and your front foot is over top of the front wheels, placed just a little more forward than usual. Then get some forward momentum, place just a little more forward than usual. Then get some forward momentum, bend your knees, and turn your shoulders to face forward. Once you're in this position, stand up straight and kick out your back wheels in an attempt to rotate your board 180 degrees. It helps to put a little bit of your weight on your front foot at this point, so your back wheels can slide around with the smallest amount of friction possible.
I thought before.
manito. Smoke. Smoke en las puertas, mano. Smoke.
Grab your gear, let's go. Smoke. Throwing fire.
¿Qué?
¿Qué?
Grenade out.
Dijo que a las 10.
Ok.
Sí. No, como.
Termina esta partida y comer ya, ¿no?
Stay here.
Smoke, manito. En las puertas todo el día.
Bueno.
Ah, bueno, hablas español, la puta que te parió. Bueno, me decís, boludo.
Yo chica.
Let's move out. Laying down smoke.
Malísimo.
Pensé que me había pegado atrás del humo, boludo. Se tiró de la ventana. Joder.
Let's go, let's go.
Dios, ¿por qué me pegan drops FPS?
Laying down smoke. Molotov. Fire in the hole.
Ah.
Deploying flashbang. Bomb has been planted.
Bueno. Buen viaje. Estamos pasando por el peaje.
Bomb has been defused. Counter-terrorists win.
¿Te tiro arma? ¿O llegas?
No, no.
Ah, llegas.
Let's go. Smoke. Throwing a grenade.
Dale, boludo. ¿Qué carajo está mirando intentando?
Ay, menos 90, qué hijo de puta.
Bomb has been planted.
No, no compres. Negro de mierda.
Be careful. Let's all make it home tonight. Throwing smoke. Flashbang. Throwing flashbang. Molotov. Counter-terrorists win. Be careful. Let's all make it home tonight. Smoke. Fire in the hole. Throwing flashbang. Grenade out.
abrir, o corramos la puerta doble y nos abramos los dos de buena corriendo.
Dale.
Abro yo la puerta, ¿no?
¿Cómo
Nos
caes?
abramos de una corriendo.
¿Vos? ¿Con el mismo gen de siempre? Quieto, quieto.
Matalo.
Let's go, let's go.
CT.
Hay uno arriba. ¿Qué onda ese? Quedó re duro ese, boludo.
Sí, sí.
Let's go, my brothers.
Estamos de acá.
I'm throwing the flashbang.
Pelotudo también.
Activating the bomb.
¿Y?
¿Y qué?
¿Y cuándo venís?
Ahora termino la partida, dije, ¿qué cómo vas a sacar? ¿Con el mismo gen de siempre?
¿Por qué?
Y porque yo sí.
Y yo también.
Entonces no pregunté por qué. Decís que sí.
No, porque... Uy, ¿por qué preguntar? Te pregunto algo a mí y te pones a llorar, vos.
Me pongo a llorar. ¿Por qué me preguntas?
Sí, ¿qué pregunta? ¿Qué pregunta?
Pero preguntás pelotudecio. Te estoy preguntando cómo vas a sacar.
Digo, ¿qué comiste? Y... ¿Qué pasa?
No. ¿Vos cómo escribís? ¿2K o 2PK? Dale, boludo. Porque a mí mi profesor igual no me importa lo que me diga. Boludo. Yo voy a hacer
No,
el
porque me
pero-
decís... ¿qué le pasa? No, importa. No es que me vaya a cambiar la vida. No, porque si me lo hace porque...
No, para saber, porque viste que yo no sé qué. Ah, bien. Voltero. Esa guacha me pide pija.
No more talking. Now we fight. Let's go, my brothers.
Easy, easy peasy. Ahí la maestra legendaria. Vamos, voy para allá. Yo estaba streameando, te aviso.
¿Y?